as we think about investments, and we think about job creation, I believe that while there are things we can still do marginally around the edges, government-wise, that we've kind of used our biggest tools in terms of monetary policy and fiscal stimulus. And that, the best thing we've got that we haven't unleashed at this point, and that we didn't have when the crisis hit in 2008, was we've got the potential of the, $2.2, $2.3 trillion in cash sitting on American corporate balance sheets. The best thing we can do is give the confidence that we are going to be serious about this debt and deficit reduction plan that I think would loosen up a lot of that private sector capital to come back into the marketplace. And that would be the best job creation we could do. Number two, I do think we have, as kind of reserve currency and the size of our economy, we've got some time. I think the most important thing is to show the seriousness of a plan that it can be phased in over a decade. And we are north now of where Simpson Bowles have in terms of our peg total of what we get, but you're not going to solve the whole $14.5 trillion debt in a 10-year time frame. We just got to move that curve, as both on a percent of GDP and in terms of the overall total debt to GDP level, back down in the right direction, and so that we can not. And again, this is one of my. I give Congressman Ryan enormous credit, but I think he underestimates that ability to make the kind of continued necessary investments around a stable energy policy, around R&D, around infrastructure, which you got to pay for, and how we rethink some of our education policies. So I do think we've got a little time. That again, it's why I am not as I hope and pray that Steve Ricchetti, all you conventional wisdom people sitting in this room, that we don't just end up with something that kind of buys us through the debt limit and kicks this can down to 2013. I think the one thing that may have changed is conventional Washington wisdom is still that the big plan, the big reform probably wouldn't happen until 2013. I think everybody thought 6 or 8 months ago we had that freedom. I don't know if we've got that flexibility anymore. And even if the probability is only kind of 10 or 20% of fiscal crisis happening if we don't put a long-term plan in place, why would we take that gamble when you come back to the notion of, that I never thought I'd say this, but I've become a fan of that debt clock, that you see, I just get haunted by this notion of, $4 billion plus a day, and that's been political fact-checked. That this is not a self-correcting problem.